Hello there, welcome to a loot from 1000 video featuring the God Wars dungeon boss Kree'arra, who represents Armadyl. So this is actually one of my favourite bosses in the game, mainly thanks to the method used to get the kills, and it's proved a very good one to the bank value in the long run. I've made one video already on this boss, so that was my duo or dolo Armadyl guide, so feel free to check that one out at some point or even after this video. So, Kree'arra, the big bird, level 580 Aviancy, or pigeon, or whatever you want to call him, and he can be found in the Armadyl fortress of the God Wars dungeon. He can be killed on an Aviancy Slayer task. You will need to unlock those first. He attacks with all 3 styles, including a unique mechanic related to his melee attacks. It's going to be quite important for us later on. Like all of the God Wars dungeon bosses, he has 255 hit points. His max hit with ranged is 69. His defense bonuses are enormous, being 260 defense with plus 200 in ranged specifically. He has 3 bodyguards or minions, each also counting as Aviancies. Kree drops all of the Armadyl ranged armor pieces. That's the helmet, chain skirt and chest plate, and this is the only place to get them, and they are currently best in slot for ranged. They're dropped at a rate of 1 in 381 per specific piece, or 1 in 127 just to hit the table and to get any of those pieces. The Armadyl hilt, which makes the AGS, is dropped at 1 in 508, same as all the hilts in God Wars, and the Godsword shards at a rate of 1 in 762 per specific shard, or roughly 1 in 255 for any shard. There's also the iconic pet Kree'arra, which is super rare at 1 in 5000, and the longbone, the curved bone, and elite clue scrolls as well can all be dropped at the same time. They're all tertiary rolls on the table. In addition, the minions all have a chance to drop the Armadyl armor pieces, though that's at a rate of roughly 1 in 16,000 for a specific piece, or 1 in 5,300 for any piece. Away from uniques, Kree's drop table is notoriously awful, dropping coins, rune crossbows, range potions, dwarf weeds, crystal keys, yew seeds, and mind runes. You can also get, as I said, those untradeable drops alongside the big bones and the regular drop. Kree can be killed only with ranged or magic, since he flies above the ground and the player seemingly cannot reach him with melee, according to the chat box. I used the chinning method for the majority of my KC, and that involved this setup, ignore the bronze crossbow and mithril grapple. Those are both needed to enter, so I'll be showing you the actual weapons in the inventory setup. As this is how I would approach a trip, or how I would start it from the bank and teleporting to Trollheim anyway. So yeah, this set up a good mix of ranged accuracy and also defense bonus too, with things like the Fury and the RuneScape. I'd sometimes use an Assembler and Anguish if I just wanted the DPS, but there's really not a huge difference. Without chins, normally just use the Twisted Bow, as Kree's magic level is 200, and that does make him vulnerable to its effects. You can see the black chins and the Twisted Bow in the inventory there for hitting Kree when not chinning. Also a blowpipe to kill off the minions, adamant darts pre-nerf, amethyst darts post-nerf. Doesn't matter too much though in fairness. Blood spells plus a Kodai or Eldritch Nightmare staff to cast Blood Barrage and restore lost HP at the end of each kill. Other important items, as you saw in the previous, I'll call it slide, I've been working a lot now, so I'll just call it slide. The crossbow and the grapple to enter the Armadyl area, plus an ecumenical key to get in without KC. KC here takes quite a while compared to the other places, so I find it quicker just to go and get 5 ecumenical keys and use those. Brought bones to Peach's tabs too for some extra HP at the end of each kill if needed. Otherwise, a mix of brews, restores, bastion potions, depending on whether I was soloing or duoing. Slightly more brews are necessary if soloing and inexperienced, and since the boss does drop ranging potions commonly, you don't need to bring too many of those. Kree's got some interesting mechanics compared to the other God Wars dungeon bosses. He uses all 3 attack styles, but will only use melee if the character does not attack him directly. This then works to our advantage, however, with the chinning method. His magic attacks, contrary to belief, actually roll off ranged defense and not magic defense bonuses or level, which I never knew before. However, of course, there is the mage minion Wingman Screech, so wearing D'hide or Armadyl is needed for reducing damage from him anyway. So, the chinning method, I've covered this in previous videos as well as a duo Armadyl guide that I made, but I will just explain it again here. At the beginning of every kill, you can shoot the boss once if you want, and then as soon as the minions spawn, which is normally the same tick or the next tick that Kree spawns, you can stop attacking the boss immediately, just click the ground, have auto retaliate off. Kree will soon enough fly over to you and prepare to attack you with melee, just dig his claw into you. At the right time, when melee minion Khaleesi, which you'll also walk over to, is stacked with Kree, you can then start throwing chins at Khaleesi, which will damage Kree and only ever roll off Khaleesi's defense, which is pretty much 0 when you've got Slayer Helm and Blackchin Chompers and decent range attack bonus, which is, well, you don't even need that to be honest with how low Khaleesi's defense is. This goes for all of the minions too, and in general with Chompers, that's how they work. It's kind of cool actually, it opens them up to quite a lot of cool uses. When soloing, it's vital to click on Kree in between attacks, however, as this makes him think you're being aggressive and about to attack him, and then you just click away at the last second, and to be honest, it becomes a rhythm after the first few seconds of the kill, and it's surprisingly easy to do consistently. When duoing or doloing, it's even easier, as one person can throw chins and the other can just bolt the boss or use a twisted bow and keep the aggression and stop any melee attacks. As soon as the melee minion's dead, you can just bolt Kree or use a twisted bow, or some players like to use the other minions and chin off them as well, but I don't find that makes a huge difference, and yeah, the twisted bow is fairly powerful, although it does of course have the moments where it hits 10 zeros in a row. The difference between black Chompers and red is quite noticeable, I'd say, but if you're an iron, I'd barely say it's worth the extra stress and time it takes to hunt black Chompers. Sometimes the melee minion will respawn if the chin damage is uneven, and the melee minion has less HP than Kree anyway, so you should theoretically kill him first if the damage is split evenly, and yeah, of course he might respawn as well, as I said, if you just noodle on the boss for 10 or 20 seconds, which can happen with any weapon here, in fairness. Otherwise, after each kill I like to blowpipe the mage minion down first and use a special attack if needed, and then blood barrage the ranger for some HP back, and if the melee and ranger are there, I can freeze the melee on top of the ranger and blood barrage safely from a distance and restore even more health. I can then use bones to peaches if I need to restore any more, or just juggle a bit of food for the next kill, as you can go through kills here where your food goes from a lot to little, but other kills is pretty much innocuous, but yeah, it's good to always be prepared for that and have enough food, because it's not nice to tele out of here, especially early on as well if you've got keys. And yeah, trips for me solo tended to be 25 to 30 kills with the solo setup I use, and duo trips can easily be twice that, and that's not even including use of alt counts. My first drop came on just 10 kill count, that was an Armadyl chainskirt, which at the time was probably one of my most valuable drops I'd ever received in the game, being priced at about 35 mil I think back then, yeah. Good times. I got the Armadyl helmet just over 100 kills later on a duo trip, and then my armor set was complete with an Armadyl chestplate on 422 KC, also a duo trip. The Armadyl hilt once worth an absolute fortune thanks to PvP, and that came at a little over drop rate at 714 KC. And the most bizarre thing about these 1000 kills was 3 Armadyl chainskirts just from Wingman Scree, the mage minion. Yes, 3 at a drop rate of 1 in 16,000 or 1 in 5k-ish for any piece. That's pretty insane, and just one off the boss during that time as well, but 3 off the minion, so work that RNG out. In the end, my 1000, or well, 1003 actually, Kree'arra and minion kills gave me 183 mil, with a very large amount of that coming from the unique drops. If I take away the minion loots, it only comes to about 104 mil, which seems a pretty healthy amount, and it is, but each kill probably costs 25k or so in chins on average, plus the blood spells as well, so that does have potential to cut into the profit. If you die here as well, you will lose your entire stack of chins, but I can actually say, and this is honest, I did not die a single time in these 1000 kills, so yeah, I can be sort of pleased with it, some kind of hardcore armor myself, you know what, but yeah, maybe not. Without getting unique drops, it can be quite depressing, and there is the potential to lose quite a lot of money. However, with the value of those uniques staying pretty high at the moment, unless we may get an update in the future which makes Armadyl less valuable, but at the moment it's still it's unlikely you won't make a decent profit if you stick at it this boss. That said, the rest of the drops are pretty terrible and barely worth picking up, apart from the standard 19k coins. Happy to say I didn't get any curved bones either. Overall, I do enjoy this boss a lot, and although it is a pain getting communicable keys and just getting the Slayer tasks themselves sometimes, it's certainly worth it for the fun and for the bank balance. In a way, it's kind of nice in a way, because I don't find myself camping this boss 24/7 because I'm limited by Slayer tasks. Or you can do this boss off task, but it's half as good, I'd say. I'll only do it occasionally, I'd say, when I get the task, and when the time is right too. I've skipped many Aviancy tasks over the last year or so, because it's just like, you know what, I don't feel like doing Armadyl at the moment. Yeah, that kind of attitude. I definitely recommend giving this method a try. You could just go with a friend and do the dolo method, or you could give the solo method a go yourself and see if you like it. Don't bring too many chins on your first few trips just while you're learning, as you don't really want to die and lose all of those, so maybe 200 or 300 on the first few trips, and then as you get better, transition to sort of 700, 800 plus, depending on how many kills you're able to get a trip. Thank you very much for watching the video. As always, I'm hoping to get a progress video out for you next week, so I'll see you all then, hopefully.